It's hard to believe it's been 41 years ago that Marvin Gaye was taken away. Sometimes you have moments where you know where you were, what you were doing. I've told this story before and I'm going to say it again. My grandmother and I in Houston were coming back from church and used to rip and run in the streets, you know. And anyway, April Fool's Day, thinking it was a joke, thinking it was, somebody pulling a prank. And then come to find out, got home, turned the news on, LA, his dad, body bag. It was like, oh man, this was just like hit like a ton of bricks. So it's hard to believe like the day before his birthday. And that's always one of the things that when I think about this particular date, when I think about early April, two losses that come to mind is like Marvin Gaye and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. When I think about, yeah, and it's kind of like certain months and things that just kind of hit you a certain way. And Marvin Gaye had been that last year was wild and rough on his Midnight Love tour and all the antics and stuff. But and mysteriously, no one has ever put forth a movie properly in its entirety based on his life. There have been works. Jesse L. Martin from Law and Order was supposed to do it, and others, but nothing came of it. So that's still one of the biggest mysteries why there was never a proper Marvin Gaye movie. But you talk about one of the greatest artists ever. You talk about a guy who changed the course of music. Influential singer, songwriter, musician, producer, arranger. His "What's Going On" album. A lot of people herald it as one of the greatest albums ever. Some think it's the GOAT. Smokey Robinson does. And it's just like something in totality. When he made an album like that, he made a statement. You know, he came out with statements. His music was about statements. His love songs with Tammy Terrell were statements. The original, If This World Were Mine. Meanwhile, Luther Vandross, Cheryl Lynn blew it up, and of course, with Kendrick Lamar and SZA right now. But the original, Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell, for those who didn't know, and they were incredible duets together. And she passed tragically. There's so many stories with that, but his story, his comeback, he won those awards. And I tell the story all the time. Motown 25 that night, actually, I was looking forward to Rick James. Of course, Michael Jackson stole it. The Jacksons were electrifying. But hey, you asked me who was the next best performance, was Marvin Gaye on that piano. He was high. He was high like a firecracker, snap, crackle, and pop. But he did some rolls on that piano, which were more, he showed more talent in them runs than a lot of these acts that you pay a lot of money for to sit in the nosebleed section right now. So, you know, when I think back to that particular time, and I remember when he did the Star Spangled Banner in '83, his own style. He tore it up because his was the standards before Whitney Houston came along. And Magic and the West Coast, Western Coast or Western Conference tore the East behinds up. And I think Marvin Gaye had a lot to do with that. He was so soulful. So much going on with him, so many ways that you could feel, so much that you could just, sense. And there's a void without him. And it been every act that's been an R&B crooner has been compared to him. If you're a crooner. Because there was a school of the Sam Cooke School and the Marvin Gaye School. And those are kind of vocalists, and the Stevie Wonder School. There's a few schools, but those are the guys that, had that distinctiveness. And the only day don't go by, I don't think about his music. I listen to so much Marvin Gaye music, read books on him, and had much for his talent. Even though the man didn't think much of his own career. He loved everybody's career but his own, if we tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. But what a dynamic, charismatic talent. And we really do miss his music. He really asks questions that people are still trying to answer today. Let that sink in. You drop a classic album 50 plus years ago, What's Going On, and every song on there still hits these streets, hits these pavements harder than it did before. And he was one of the greatest artists ever. So just remembering Marvin Gaye 41 years later. Unfortunate events and everything that transpired. So Divided Soul is a great book. If you ever get a chance, it's the book that he did with David Ritz. Peep out. It's very intriguing. So thoughts and prayers are with his family still. Respect to Nona Gaye and the family. And Janet passed a few years ago. So just sending thoughts and prayers, and also just remembering the legacy, the greatness of what he did as an artist. Still listen to that I Want You album. Next year, that'll be 50 years old. That's crazy. To Hear My Dear, which is a send off to his former ex-wife, which was crazy. I mean, but he was so musical and so talented, and just a dynamic talent. And you don't never forget that. A strong, soulful artist. One of the greatest to ever do it. So we just remember him 41 years later. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear. Watch out for another shit. If you like and hit that membership, stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out. Peace.